Hello, this is the RPGPundit, final boss and internet shitlords, and today, once again, I am at the house of Bill the Elf.
Hi guys.
Now Bill the Elf is one of the players in my epic Last Sun DCC campaign, so I've got his copy of Dungeon Crawl Classics here. And I'm going to talk to you about something that relates to that, so I thought it was a good idea to have Bill the Elf on again. This is the thing. You might have heard, if you're on the Twitterverse, especially in the D&D scene, that we're cooking while we do this. What are we having tonight?
I'm cooking.
Yeah, he's cooking. Let's be straight about that. He's the one that does the cooking.
Penne al baffo.
There we go, penne al baffo. So, on the Twitterverse, we've had somewhat of a great wave of disturbance over the fact that CriticalRole, the YouTube D&D themed reality show, as I call it, has had apparently some character die on it, and there was just wails of outrage about this. And this really ties into what I'd been saying for quite some time now on several different points. First of all, that people watch this show and shows like this, all of the, I'm not singling out CriticalRole, they watch all of the kind of the YouTube D&D themed reality soap operas because they want to watch a show, right? I mean, I'm sure, I'm not denying, first of all, that there are people that are gamers that watch the show and that there are people who have watched the show who have become gamers, but a significant portion of their viewing public are people who are watching it as entertainment in and of itself and are not really gamers. So, you know, I was going to be kind of critical of Matthew Mercer in a video that I'd been thinking of doing about a week ago when he did this big post about how what we need is empathy for other people that don't think like us and stuff like this. And my response to him on Twitter was that, you know, you don't need... It's not about empathy. Empathy doesn't come first. What comes first is a recognition of the other person's right to think differently from you, because you can't really be talking about empathy when you're also supporting people that are saying that, you know, divergent ideologies, different views should be silenced in the hobby as evil gatekeepers. They should be condemned and thrown out of the hobby because they refuse to vote the way you do or have the same politics as you do. Like, you can't really, until you recognize the right of someone to their own opinion, to their own free speech, then empathy is just meaningless. It's just this patronizing, elitist nonsense. It's a weasel word that's about you claiming that, well, we should feel sorry for these poor ignorant hicks that, you know, support the president and stuff like that, and we should just teach them to be better like we are. You know, it's just the most arrogant bullshit. But I have to say, I kind of feel bad for the guy now, because suddenly he's finding that, you know, he actually dared to actually do something that happens in D&D. He didn't fudge the dice to save this person's life. His improv theater became a little too unscripted, and now people are turning on him. So, you know, kudos to him for having dared to actually try to play D&D, but he kind of proves my point that a significant part of his audience are not actually interested at all in the game. They aren't even interested in watching the game. They just want to watch a story, you know, like a soap opera or whatever.
Want something to happen.
Yeah, they want something to happen, and they want it to happen
in a certain way.
As a scripted story, yeah. And they got mad when it didn't. So this is the deal, right? In terms of D&D, D&D is not a storytelling system. It's not a storytelling game, or the mechanics of it are not set up to tell stories in the same way that a TV show tells a story. That's not what it's about. And the reality of death is a huge deal. This is part of the problem of why we don't have a D&D community with these people. I have nothing in common with people who are shocked that a character will die in a D&D game. They don't see it as a game, and I don't see it as a TV show. So what do I have in common with them? This is the danger of the SJW crowd claiming that we have this giant coherent community of people that they get to be in charge of course, and they get to tell us what we should or shouldn't like or should or shouldn't accept. That's just nonsense, right? Because the problem is that you then have this situation where these people get to dictate and change the game and create something that is more like a game about making, you know, TV soap operas and not about playing living characters in a living world. Now, I've had some pushback from this when I was talking about it on Twitter from certain people who were saying, well, but you know, that's just the old way of doing things, and you know, it's not actually conducive to good play when characters can die at any time, which is just bullshit, because this is one of the principles of OSR play. Characters die, and the whole point of often in some campaigns, but the whole point is that if you're going in a game where you know that in any given session your character might die, and not die in some heroic scripted way that suits the TV show format, but could get killed by a goblin or whatever, then actually surviving the session, every session, becomes a triumph. It becomes something worthwhile. And that's why I wanted to have Bill here, because, see, Bill has been playing in my epic Last Sun DCC campaign, yeah, for 5 years now. And in that game, we've had a lot of characters die. They've come, they've gone, new characters have shown up, but this has become a very rich living world that they get to inhabit and enjoy, and their characters, for however long or short they live, their characters mean something. They're worthwhile because they're living people in that virtual world. Now, Bill, you've had several characters. Bill the Elf is the most famous one, right?
Yes. About 10 characters, I guess.
That's right. And most of those characters have died, right?
Yes.
Now, do you think that has damaged or has improved your experience playing DCC?
Well, it makes you be more creative, because each time you get a new character, you gotta create something new that makes sense, and that you gotta come up with his idea, whatever he wants to do. So it makes you be more creative, and being that he could die anytime if you do something stupid, then makes you think more about the next step. And depending, maybe he's an idiot, he's a low intelligence, so he is going to do the stupid thing. And then if he's intelligent, he might think twice about the next step, but you gotta play it right according to what he got as stats.
That's right. Now, you also play, famously, Bill the Elf, the only original character to still be alive in that campaign.
Yes,
the highest level character in the campaign. Yeah, well, right now, Bill the Elf is on ice because he's been turned into a Cesarcon zombie, and he's been missing. This is the second time now in the campaign where you haven't been able to play him, and that's been for
a year and a half.
Yeah, for over a year, and the last time was also for about a year, which is why you've had other characters that you've played.
Yep.
Now, do you think? I mean, obviously, you have a lot of connection with your character as Bill the Elf.
Yeah.
You have a lot of sympathy with him, right?
Yeah. I mean, he evolved. Sorry for the steam.
He definitely did evolve.
He had he was dull at the beginning, like really dull. He was just this plain elf, and then after a while he got to be a crazy maniac. Then he got who's
literally changed that world, usually for the worse, in all kinds of ways.
Certainly for the worse. But you know, he's grown and done things better for himself. But yeah, I mean, he can always die. So
right. And here's the thing. If you didn't know that Bill the Elf could die, that he could have died in the past, and that even now, even though he's found ways to cheat death.
He will ever come back.
Yeah, he might not. But even though he's found ways to cheat death,
yes.
Do you think that if you weren't aware of the possibility of his death, that it would have been anyway as much fulfilling to you to play him?
Well, every time you survive is an achievement.
Exactly.
Especially, I gotta say, the DCC campaign, the Pundit runs is quite deadly, we could say. But it makes it worthwhile, because I mean, you can cross the street and get run over by a truck. So it's kind of real in that sense. So
that's right. It's a real world with real people in it.
It's living. I don't know if you're aware of the, what you call it, the 1,000 characters, or...
Yeah, the cast of thousands.
Yes, that's a fascinating thing.
That's an important principle in creating a living world, is to have all kinds of characters.
When we're not playing them or interacting with them, they're still doing stuff in other parts of the world that are still going on. So they might still remember you, they might still even do something to help you because you helped them back in the days, and you almost forgot about them, and so on and so on. So that's a living and breathing world that's worth it. Exactly.
So this is the thing, right? What Bill just said, he's looking at D&D, the D&D experience. It's Dungeon Crawl Classics, but Dungeon Crawl Classics is a great old school variant of D&D. He's looking at it from the point of view of someone playing a game. He's part of the D&D hobby. He is a hobbyist playing the game. He's not looking at it as a fan of the brand. He's not looking at it as a fan of a TV show. He is part of the D&D hobby. There is a D&D hobby. There's no such thing as a D&D community. And the reaction to what happened in the Critical Role show is pretty much the proof of that. It's the proof that we have nothing in common with the type of people who would be pissed off over the death of a character in a YouTube D&D themed reality show. And these guys have gone and proven my point for me. And this is part of why we need a reaction to this, where we say no to the idea of these people who are going to take ideological advantage of creating a fake community to try to change the game and to try to change the people who are allowed, in their view, to play the game. So
everybody's allowed.
Yeah, everybody's allowed. Everybody's allowed who wants to play. We want everyone to play, and we have a hugely diverse crew of people in my GCC game, and in all of my games. And yeah, we even have a communist. So there you go. You know, we have no problem with that.
He's a cool guy.
He's an awesome guy. He played the second most successful character in the campaign, Akbasha.
The faithful Akbasha.
Yeah, Bill's nemesis.
Yes.
they were arch nemesi. Anyway.
But they're friends.
Well, they're friends. They both tried to kill each other. Anyway, so this is my point, and this is why we need to reject this notion of D&D community. Anyway, that's it for today. One thing, you know, in my last video I was talking about how someone could get me a cell phone stand. Well, one of my viewers did, and I don't have it with me right now because I'm not at home, but you're going to see it probably on the next show of Inappropriate Characters, which is coming out this weekend. So keep an eye out on the Inappropriate Characters channel. If you're not on that channel, you should totally subscribe. And hey, so the crowdsourcing worked. And if you, on that note, if you're interested in me doing more of my videos on my channel more often, then the way to do that is to support me. You could either donate on the Inappropriate Characters Patreon, or you could donate directly to my PayPal, which you can find on my blog. Or if you can't do either of those things, you don't have any money, the other great thing you can do is to share the videos and share the channel and to build up the subscriber base for this channel. The more people that are interested, the more often I'll do this. And yeah, so subscribe, share the videos.
And don't forget the notification button.
That's right. Press that notifications button because you know, you might have to press it twice the way YouTube is. Certain channels, controversial channels that don't fit the Seattle, Portland mentality tend to get kind of shadow blocked and stuff like that, right? So yeah, check all that out, and be sure to check with us again soon. Currently smoking near Acorn with Image, Virginia. Take care.